What's up, you guys? So for this one, or this lesson, I should say, it's on Vocab. It's Unit 6, Lesson 2. It's basically a hodgepodge of a lot of stuff. We have beach-related vocabulary, which you kind of see popping up in the first picture that we have here. You talk about, like, your health and just being healthy, or, like, doing certain activities or exercises to stay healthy. And then because we're talking about health, we talk about body parts. So it's kind of like three separate categories that do intertwine, but also feel a little random. So this is in your textbook, obviously, right from them, page 326. There were a few body parts that I kind of gave you guys on the side, but they weren't necessarily things you had to memorize, like for your quiz or anything. So we're sticking with the stuff from the book for it. Here we have two friends, Mario and Isabel. They're hanging out at the beach. You can see them just like chilling on the sand, basically. And they're going to be talking about things that deal with the beach, activities you can do at the beach, stuff you can use at the beach, basically. So she says, soy Isabel, obviously, en la playa. This is the beach that we know they are at. The only thing that they don't give you guys here, and it kind of is annoying because they give you the word for beach, as in the entire place, and then they give you the word for the ocean, but then not the sand. So I will give you that word in a bit. She says, en la playa, at the beach, Mario y yo siempre usamos, so Mario and I always use bloqueador de sol. This would be this. Sunblock. Bloqueador kind of looks like the word for block, so hopefully that helps you remember. Sol just being the word for sun. So it's the blocker of the sun. That's literally what it like translates to. But she says that they always use sunblock. Si no lo usamos, so if it doesn't have the acento, it means if. If it has the accent, it means yes. Just for you guys to know. So, si no lo usamos, if we don't use it, tomar el sol, sun tanning, or like sunbathing, whichever you prefer, puede ser malo para la piel. It can be bad for your skin, your first like body part. Technically, it's your whole body, but the first option. La piel being the skin. So we have them in la playa. They give you el mar. The word for the sand is arena. It is spelled like arena. Like if you go to an arena for like a show, like a concert or something, it's spelled the same way, just pronounced arena instead. So they're talking about sun tanning and how in order to be good and to stay healthy, you gotta use sunblock. Then they talk about some other activities to do. En la República Dominicana hay muchas actividades que son buenas para la salud. So obviously in the Dominican Republic, there are many activities that are good for the health, or your health, or whoever's health. She says, yo camino, I walk. We've had the word to walk before. In Spanish, when we have the verb pasear, which was walking, but think of them as like going for a stroll, like for fun, relaxing, like sightseeing, even if you could say that. Caminar is more like walking, but like for exercise. So like you're going out, obviously quicker, maybe for a longer walk, maybe it's more of a hike, but you're doing it for exercise. In this case, she walks on the beach, and sand can be pretty difficult to walk through. So she says, yo camino, I walk. Pero también puedes hacer esquí acuático o bucear. So she can walk, but since she is at the beach, she could also water ski. This is the verb to, pretty much to do water skiing. Like that's what the verb would translate to. Bucear, you can kind of tell, to scuba dive, since she's at the beach as well. But then she says, a Mario le gusta levantar pesas. But her friend instead prefers to lift weights. Levantar is to lift. Pesas are just weights. Here we have a couple of words that kind of deal with starting and stopping. For example, like activities. We also, since we're doing preterite tense in this chapter, we had like last night or yesterday. I'm not sure. Right? So they're a bit more random, but they are also a part of this chapter. We're going to come across this phrase, lo siento, quite a bit in a second when we talk about pain and body parts, because maybe you can't do something and someone invites you to go do something and you might say, lo siento, me duele something, like, sorry, my head hurts, like I can't go out, or I don't want to go out because my head hurts. And then you have a couple of questions like, ¿qué hiciste tú? What did you do? Like en la playa, or what did you do ayer, or what did you do yesterday? Or if it's multiple people that you're asking, ¿qué hicieron ustedes? What did you guys do, basically? But we are continuing with health. So here we have body parts. She says, si hacemos actividades en la playa. So if, right? There's no accent, so it's an if. If we do activities at the beach, usamos bloqueador de sol, obviously because they don't want to burn, en todo el cuerpo. So cuerpo being the body, the entire one here. Specifically, the places they put the bloqueador de sol on would be la nariz, which would be your nose. Las orejas would be the ears, so plural, you just basically put the S in order for it to be both ears. Los brazos, again, would be plural because he has 2 arms, but you're talking about the arms. Las piernas, on your legs, basically everywhere. So she's like, cover your body in sunblock so you don't burn, so you don't get too tan. So here we have what all the body parts are. La cabeza would be your head. So obviously it has a couple of things associated with it. La oreja would be an ear, like she mentioned. El ojo would be an eye. Don't put sunblock in there. That would be bad. You have la nariz for the nose. You have la boca for the mouth. If you're looking at the full body, which was again, I know it's tiny up there. Let me scroll. El cuerpo. There you go. Then you have everything past your head. So, el brazo for the arm. El corazón for the heart. El estómago for the stomach. So you only have a couple of organs, but the main ones. At least the things that possibly could hurt you. La mano for the hand. La pierna for the leg. Tobillo for an ankle. Rodilla for a knee. And then pie looks like pie, but it's not pie. Pie for your foot. Talking about all of these, we'll talk about things that could possibly hurt. And this is where the pain or like the sickness words come in. So it says, Mario es fuerte. He is strong. You can see his muscles. He is flexing. Mario es fuerte. Pero ahora, but right now, está herido. He is injured. He somehow hurt himself. So because he's in pain, it says, le duele mucho el tobillo. So something hurts him, in this case, his ankle. I have a video specifically on the verb doler. I recommend if you haven't seen it, or if you forgot how to do it, take a look at it. Because le duele is used because it's only Mario who is in pain, and duele is used because only one thing hurts him right now. The last section you guys had here, so after, like I mentioned, the hurting of some kind of one ankle in this case, you have the opposite. So if someone is healthy, she's talking about herself. So Isabel again, she says, yo soy muy sana. I am very healthy. You see her with some fruit and some water after she's finished probably like working out at the beach. So yo soy muy sana, because it's a description, an adjective, you would end up changing the spelling for like if it was Mario who was sano with an O, and then sana for her. So she says she's very healthy, pero de vez en cuando, but once in a while, estoy enferma. She gets sick as well. Another description, right? So enferma would also change enfermo for a guy. Just like herido, because he was hurt, or he was injured, would be herida for her. Fuerte, you cannot change because there's an E at the end, so no matter whose it is, it'll still be the right spelling of it that you end up having, no matter who you talk about by the end of it. The last little thing I was going to cover, just because, like I mentioned, there were a couple of other body parts that we had, but weren't necessarily a part of the book, but we also kind of used them in class, were these. So, la piel, it was technically a part of the book, but I, for some reason, added it here because we didn't go over it that same day, I want to say, in class, but la piel was just the skin. I also gave you guys el cerebro, the brain, another really main organ in this case that I do think you guys should know, especially because we talk about the head, so it would be right there. We have los hombros, which would be the shoulders. So if it's only one shoulder, it would be el hombro with an O. It does sound similar and probably remind you of the word for man, but they're different. Hombre with an E would be the word for man. With an O, it's going to be a shoulder. You also had los dientes. Those would be the teeth. They go inside la boca, except Danny Phantom does not have his mouth open, so you can't see it. You have los dedos, which are fingers. El codo, which would be the elbow right through here, because they gave you the other like main joints. They gave you the word for knee, they gave you the word for ankle, but not the word for elbow, so I gave you that one instead. I also didn't give you the word for wrist. It's muñeca if you need it, but I didn't mention that either. I don't know why, but I forgot that one. The last one, which is in my opinion the funniest one, is your toes. In English, we have a tiny word, toes. Here we have like a full-on sentence. Los dedos de los pies literally means the fingers of the feet, or like your toes. So if you're talking about los dedos de los pies, you're talking about your toes. If you just say los dedos, you're talking about fingers. So there was a couple of extra words, like I said, dealing with body parts that we could use, but for the most part, we stuck with the ones in the book, and then we talked about the health words, like the adjectives, and activities you can do to be healthy. Hopefully this is pretty easy. I will kind of catch up with you guys in class, and we will continue learning all these, especially for like review for finals. But I'll see you guys in class. Adios.